Фрэнсисом или...
He said, I'll fight anybody that the company wants me to, but I really want to fight Francis.
I really want to fight Francis, and of course he's referencing Francis Ngannou.
So I started to walk out, and he put his hand on my chest. He says, "We're not done talking yet." And I said, "Oh, we're fucking done talking." You know, it's not like, you know, Francis Ngannou came in here and was like physically.
You have to post something. You have to keep your social media in life and all the stuff. I'm like, man, I'm good. Just leave me in peace. Just leave me collect my peace.
Vadim Nemkov calls out Francis Ngannou after his PFL title win, while Dana White fires back at Francis Ngannou. To begin with, Chael Sonnen highlighted the deconstruction of a recent PFL announcement regarding Francis Ngannou's next fight. He concluded that this surprise is simply a fight against Vadim Nemkov. Sonnen expressed confusion as to why the PFL promoted this predictable matchup as special.
Put out by PFL, we're trying to work on something special for him, referring to Francis. We need to wait and see if Nemkov wins. We're trying to work on something special for Francis. So I read that thing 4 times, and I'm left to conclude that means Francis versus Nemkov. Caveat, Nemkov, who's scheduled with Vieira, has to win. Not just winner of that match, because Vieira has already fought with Francis, just to bring that full circle for you. So something very special is in the works for Francis, and that special thing is that he would be facing Nemkov as long as Nemkov beats Vieira. Do I have it right? And I told you guys, I read this thing 4 times.
From there, Sonnen expressed confusion about the PFL labeling the expected matchup between Francis Ngannou and Vadim Nemkov as special. He noted that fans have been anticipating this logical fight between 2 heavyweights already under PFL contract, leading him to believe the promotion's use of the word special must mean he is unaware of some key detail.
If you wanted to put Nemkov against Francis, and you could do the old school, the face-off, and Francis is in the front row, and maybe he gets in the ring, and they look at each other, and Francis towers over him, and we get that ooh feel in the background. We fade to black, we roll the credits. Maybe one of them touches the other one. That'd be a real treat for fight fans. But you're still talking about having Nemkov fight Francis. 2 guys you've had under contract in the same division that the hardest core of fans have asked for and have asked about ever since Nemkov left 205 and moved into the heavyweight division. I like the fight. I'm into the fight. I hope that we get that fight. But that fight was called special.
Meanwhile, heavyweight world champion Vadim Nemkov has publicly declared his strong desire to face Francis Ngannou in the sport for his next bout immediately after securing his recent title.
I know it's not really your personality to call for ambitious things or to talk trash, but you just announced your presence in this heavyweight division. Who do you want to fight next?
Я подерусь с любым, с кем предложит организация, но хотел бы драться с Фрэнсисом или...
He said, I'll fight anybody that the company wants me to, but I really want to fight Francis.
I really want to fight Francis, and of course he's referencing Francis Ngannou.
Building on that, Nemkov gives his open willingness and enthusiasm to fight Francis Ngannou. When asked about the possibility of facing Ngannou, Nemkov was quick to laud his successful history and significant achievements in the sport. He conveyed deep respect for the potential high-profile contest, affirming his keen desire for the fight.
I don't want to take focus away from this fight, but I have to ask about Francis just because he is the guy who, you know, he beat Heyman, looked like he was going to be the heavyweight champ. Can I just ask, like a win here, do you believe that is that's the logical next step? And what are your thoughts on Francis, just in terms of, like, you know, what he brings to the sport, his level in the sport, and obviously that would be a huge fight for you.
Для меня это большая честь будет выйти против Фрэнсиса.
He said, listen, I think Francis is very accomplished and has been in the game, had some great fights and great victories, and fighting him would be an absolute honor, and I'd love to do it, and if that's what PFL wants to do, I will definitely agree to it.
In response, Francis publicly responded to the challenge by declaring that he has been prepared for a fight and he is ready to face Vadim Nemkov shortly. Ngannou tweeted, "I've been ready for a long time, see you soon." Shifting focus from Ngannou's readiness to another fighter's perspective, Tom Aspinall views professional boxing as a money sport dominated by profile over pure skill, making winning a world title unrealistic for him at 33. He is interested in high-profile crossover, big fights, like those involving Jake Paul and Joshua for the financial opportunity, accepting this commercial reality rather than being annoyed by it.
For me to be like 33 and then think that I'm going to win a world title in boxing, it's unrealistic.
I don't know so much, because with your speed as heavyweight, you got to think in boxing.
I reckon I could have a couple of like
warm-ups.
No, I reckon I could have a couple of like not freak show fights, but like big fights. You know what I mean? Like a big name or something.
Well, it's that space now, isn't it? Yes, mate. Okay. It's that space though, isn't it? Like all these fights. Look at Jake Paul and Joshua.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who do you think's going to win that?
Oh, mate. Well, he couldn't beat me.
No.
With a broken hand.
No.
So how are you going to go from me to fight somebody like him? It doesn't make any sense.
Does it annoy you a bit when that's happening?
No, not at all, because I understand it. It's boxing. It's not. You can box like Muhammad Ali, but if nobody knows you and you've not got a profile, nobody's interested. But boxing, that's the way it's gone down now. It's just a money sport.
Expanding on that idea, Aspinall quickly identified a fight against fellow MMA star Francis Ngannou as a potential big fight and a way to earn a lot of money in the crossover boxing landscape. He noted the huge financial success of the Mayweather versus content. McGregor modeled, but stressed he still has commitments within the UFC.
If they can make business together, good luck to them.
Who do you think Tom should fight if he was to box?
What, in that world?
Yeah, give us a name.
Jake Paul, do me.
Oh no.
Tom.
I wouldn't mind boxing an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? I think that'd be.
I think Ngannou would be a good fight, no?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I like
that'd be a big fight, that.
Mate, I've got fights.
You walk him out, yeah?
100%. I mean,
I've got fights in the UFC to do first.
Yeah.
I've got them fights to do.
See, it's good though because there's a lot of money to be earned. So much money to be earned in that way. Because look at Mayweather McGregor.
Dana White highlighted the personal confrontation with Francis Ngannou and expressed his frustration with publicizing private man-to-man issues. Dana immediately shut down the conversation, stating that the interaction, though not a threat, was inappropriate. He explains his reluctance to share such behind-the-scenes stories, classifying them as man stuff that he prefers to keep private.
UFC headquarters like this was his house. This guy literally spent the whole day here. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, So I started to walk out and he put his hand on my chest. He says, "We're not done talking yet." And I said, "Oh, we're done talking." It's not like, Francis Ngannou came in here and was like physically, but that's what went down. And I tell you guys all the time, we're in the fight business. Shit happens. And you don't have enough time in your life for me to tell you all the stories that have happened behind the scenes and what goes on around here. And this is why I don't like telling them, And I truly believe that a lot of shit is man shit. It's man to man. We have the shit with Francis, and he was when I did Schultz's podcast. He was pushing me on some stuff, so I gave him that one.
Following that, Dana emphasizes the philosophy of ending his professional relationship with Francis Ngannou. He explained that he was initially a huge proponent of Ngannou, believing him to be the ideal heavyweight champion, but an event led White to conclude that he could not continue working with the fighter.
My whole thing with Francis is, I have this philosophy where when somebody shows you who they really are, believe them. And there was nobody more into Francis than me, okay? When I met this guy, I was like, holy shit, you are what a heavyweight champion looks like, all this shit. And I was all in on Francis. I mean, early on, I had Francis sitting behind me in the fucking Zuffa section, in my seats. And then we were in Boston and he showed me who he was.
Yeah.
So I told the boys, he lost a couple, and I said, I don't want to be in business with this guy. And two of my guys in the matchmaking department said, "Oh, you don't understand it." I said, "Okay, is this what you want to do?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to teach you a fucking lesson. When somebody shows you who they are, fucking believe them. You're both fucking wrong."
Doubling down, Dana expresses strong confirmation that he will never rehire Francis Ngannou and his contempt for the idea of Ngannou's contract with the PFL ending. He expressed pleasure that the fighter had joined the PFL, issuing a warning that any company acquiring a fighter the UFC releases should be cautious, as the release was deliberate.
And I guess you're gonna have to learn the hard way. And here we are.
So safe to say, no interest in bringing him back. Just, you know?
I don't know how I can make it any more clear.
I do wonder how PFL feel about him going out and saying that his contract's nearly done.
There was nothing that made me happier than throwing that guy over to the PFL.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, if we let guys go, feel bad for the fucking company that gets them. We let them go for a fucking reason.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't have to let anybody go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be in business with guys that I don't like and that I don't think are good guys. And when you talk about good guys and bad guys, I'm in the fight business. Mm-hmm. Shit happens. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty lenient when it comes to tough guys.
Francis Ngannou denies Dana White's claims that he physically grabbed or put his hands on White or Hunter Campbell. He suggested that since the alleged incident occurred in White's office, which he presumes has a lot of cameras, White should be able to produce the video evidence.
Well, then he must be the only person that I ever put my hand on.
Well, he said you did it with him and Hunter Campbell, where you grabbed his collar.
In his office, that's what he said, right?
Correct.
Well, I'm sure he has a lot of camera there.
So you would invite him to, hey, show the proof?
I'm not inviting him to do anything. I'm not in court.
No, I know. But you know, Francis, he's on a podcast. He's saying, hey, this guy's a bad guy. He put his hand on me. He did all this stuff. This is not a good person. That paints a picture of an ugly scene. And so if someone said that about me, I would feel probably the need to defend myself. I didn't touch you. What are you talking about? You're trying to assassinate my character or something.
Stepping back from the controversy, Ngannou emphasizes that his focus is on personal well-being and seeking peace over public engagement. Ngannou affirmed he has emotionally moved beyond the past controversies. He is currently concentrating on his personal maturity and well-being, confirming he is in a happy place.
I really saw that and scroll and move.
Okay.
I get past it. I wasn't even. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be thinking that you're gonna ask me that, obviously, but I'm long gone from that.
Okay. I did see last week on, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago on Instagram, where you posted that like you're very happy these days, like you're in a good place. You know, you posted a picture of yourself.
As I said, I focus on myself. You know, the more I get mature, I've been training. You know, working on my personal self, stay in my place. Like I have to be remembered so many times that, hey, you have to post something, you have to keep your social media in life and all the stuff. I'm like, man, I'm good. Just leave me in peace. Just leave me collect my peace.
However, Ngannou demands fighting clarity and his lack of knowledge about the PFL's announced title fight. Ngannou focuses on securing an upcoming fight before his contract with the PFL expires, as he does not want to remain inactive. He also claimed that he was unaware of the fight until its announcement and told the interviewer to ask the promotion for an explanation.
First, I need to have a fight, and then in order for that, I need to have a clear view on the fight, because I don't really want to stay out this long.
Is that the reason why you're not fighting for the belt?
But yes, if there is a fight, why not?
What do you mean by why not? Why not what?
No, why not resign with the PFL?
Okay. But why aren't you fighting this weekend? Like, they have a heavyweight title that they're instituting now. Why aren't you fighting Vadim Nemkov?
Why don't you ask them? I don't know.
Okay.
I just tell you that I didn't know. I wasn't even aware of that fight until it get announced.
Okay. Is that like, would you have been able to fight this weekend? Were you available? Were you ready to go?
Adding another layer, the MMA guru addressed Dana White's statement that he glamorized the story of his physical confrontation with Francis Ngannou, while confirming that a less extreme, yet still confrontational, incident did occur in his office. He emphasized that Ngannou had a key opportunity in the interview to finally present his perspective, but failed to do so.
And we're going to cut to Dana in a second, because Dana White does give his opinion on this. And it is, he did glamorize the story and he addresses that, but he still maintains that that situation in the office of his went down between him and Ngannou. But maybe it didn't happen to the point where we were thinking, oh, he grabbed Dana by the scruff of his shirt and lifted him in the air while Dana's feet were kicking in the air. And then Dana said, get your hands off of me. You know, I mean, we definitely assumed that was the dramatized part of this, and he definitely hyped that up for the bit of the story that he was telling on the Flagrant pod. But Dana White's going to address his, and he's going to take back some stuff and sort of make it a more reasonable situation that actually did happen. And he's also going to talk about Ngannou to the PFL. But one more time, Ngannou, here's your chance to clear things up.
I would ask him, he would say, yeah, I said it. That's my POV. The one that we haven't heard about this is you, right? So I would love your side of the story.
Furthermore, Guru criticized Francis Ngannou's inactivity since signing with the PFL, noting he has fought only once and repeatedly failed to attend the PFL Africa events that were central to his deal. This lack of participation means his promises regarding fighter benefits have not materialized, leading to reports that the PFL now regrets the signing.
But you know, he's fought once for the PFL, didn't show up to any of the PFL Africas, has done nothing for the PFL really. After his big thing was how he's going to challenge the UFC by going to the PFL. That's what Ariel wanted from him. But he no-showed the PFL Africas, didn't go to any of those despite that being a core part of his reasoning for like accepting the deal. He even had that thing about when people are on my card, they'll get this covered for them and healthcare and everyone on the card will be paid this amount. Well, when you fight once, that doesn't really become a big part of the deal, you know? So PFL wasn't too happy with him. I made that video before as well, where PFL are like, we f***ed up taking on Francis Ngannou. And they're not too fond of him either. A 635 in this interview, current status with PFL. They get into things.
Offering a more measured take, Luke Thomas stated he cannot definitively determine the truth about the physical confrontation between Francis Ngannou and Dana White. He concluded that while Ngannou likely committed some form of unwarranted physical obstruction, it was likely not the extreme, gangster-like scuffle described.
Not that Francis may have not physically put himself in the way he needed to, or sorry, not to argue that Francis didn't have at least some kind of unwarranted physical obstruction or touch. In either case, not acceptable. But it didn't seem to have the same kind of gangster, like, you know, grab you by the scruff of your shirt, something kind of. It didn't have that. All of this is to say, I don't know who to believe. You know, I try to make this point. I'm not saying Dana is lying. Again, Ant, who helps me with this channel, you know, he certainly is no fan of Dana, and he has also said, you know, he has reservations, let's put it that way, about Francis. It could very well be true. I don't really know. I don't think we got a whole lot of extra clarity, except it was just weird to me.
Broadening the discussion, Thomas uses Dana White's comments as a springboard for a broader commentary on the ethics and public perception of celebrated figures in MMA. He warns fans that while they shouldn't label everyone as immoral actors, it is generally unwise to simply assume that celebrated figures in MMA, like Dana White, are operating with the highest ethical standards without strong evidence to back it up.
And in fact, Dana did double down on that. He did double down and say, you know, he was happy to see him go to PFL, which you know, is probably it's probably also false, but also somewhat true. I'll just say this. I think you'll get pretty far in life as an MMA fan if you try, you know, you don't want to bury people as like, oh, these are all immoral actors, because that is too reductionist and absurd. But in MMA, I have found it is very unwise, without real good evidence, to just assume naturally that the celebrated figures of the sport.
Elsewhere, MMA Joey highlighted the controversy and rumors about Francis Ngannou physically confronting Dana White. He argues that Ngannou should have admitted to assaulting White, characterizing Dana as a bully who deserved it. He also reaffirmed his position that Ngannou made the correct decision to leave the UFC, as he earned more money in 2 subsequent fights than in his entire UFC career.
Francis didn't deny putting hands on Dana. To be honest, he should have said, I did. I wish he would have just said, I did. It didn't look good. I think he's just tired of every time it's just him and Dana. But I do think there is an argument. I don't think it's brain dead to say he might have done it. But you know what's funny about that? I think he should have just said he did it. I would have said, yeah, I did it. And Dana yelled for security. He's a little bitch. He's bullying everyone. I decided it's time for him to get a taste of his own medicine. That's what I would have said. Remember when you were a contrarian for saying Ngannou leaving the UFC was his best decision? And it's true. He made more money in 2 fights than he made in his entire UFC career.
Joey defends Francis Ngannou against fan criticism. He asserts that the UFC needs Ngannou more than the reverse. Given the state of the heavyweight division, he attributes the fan animosity to Ngannou's actions he stood up to and won against Dana White and the UFC.
How stupid are the Ngannou haters saying Ngannou is not needed in the UFC? Do they not see how dead the heavyweight division is? If Ngannou was re-signed, you see all the haters flip and thank Dana? They wouldn't flip. They would say Ngannou came crawling back. The UFC needs Ngannou more than Ngannou needs the UFC. That's a fact. You guys ready to hear a real hot take? I'm not sure what mattress I have. I'm not sure. It's like maybe 5 years old. How the f would I remember? Does PFL even offer fights at this point? I don't know. Ngannou says he's waiting for a fight for a couple months now. Eli, thank you for the 199. Why do you think they hate Francis so much? I'm going to break it down for you. He stood up to the UFC and won. He stuck it to Dana White. He stuck it to the UFC. And to top it all off, it doesn't help.
In the end, the PFL's attempt to frame a predictable matchup as a major surprise only reinforces the confusion surrounding Francis Ngannou's run outside the UFC. From Nemkov's challenge to Dana White's finality, Ngannou's presence continues to expose the power struggles, business motives, and unanswered questions shaping modern MMA.